Hi guys, welcome to another Bourbon Santa video. Today we're on day one of the 2020 Advent calendar. Now, a little bit about this. I was basically asked to do an Advent calendar kind of last minute. So I threw it together and came up with 12 bourbons and maybe ryes that are fairly available. There's a few in here that are hard depending on where you live to get, and they're some of my favorites. Some of my favorite bourbons, some of my favorite ryes that I wanted to share with you guys this Christmas. So we're going to go through the last 12 days up till Christmas, and today's 12 days till Christmas. I have the bottle underneath Santa's hat right here. And one of the things about doing an Advent calendar, especially doing my first one, is I learned a lot. Mostly how not to do it. And because of the little shipping issue, some of you have your calendars and some of you don't have them yet. They'll be to you in a couple days, the ones that are missing. And so if you haven't received your calendar yet, go ahead and stop now and catch back up once you receive your calendar and join us. I'm so sorry about that. I have a good idea of how to do it better next year and prevent that from happening. So if you don't have your calendar already, go ahead and get out of here because we're going into it next. All right, here we go. Day one. Yours will be a little fuller than this. I didn't need to give myself as much because I have a bottle. So, let me tell you a little bit about this bourbon, and we're going to do some tasting and some nosing before I reveal what it is. This bottle it's one of my favorite whiskeys to give to someone who's not really into whiskey yet. It's not harsh. It's not so complex that people aren't going to get anything out of it. It has some bold flavors. It gives you some nice, big, easily recognizable notes for the vast majority. It's also a nice starter whiskey for the night. Like if you're going to do a flight of high proof whiskeys and you need something to acclimate your palate to the idea of whiskey before you start a flight, or before you start a night of tasting, this is a great whiskey to go to. This is a whiskey I don't buy all that often because when I have a bottle, every one of those bottles springs a leak. And before I know it, the whole bottle's gone. I don't think I've had a bottle of this last in my house more than a week until I was putting together these, and then I had to have them sitting on the shelf getting ready to pour. And that was hard to control myself. So, let's nose this thing. I wrote down some notes of my nosing and tasting notes. Oh, this thing is a caramel bomb. Tons of butterscotch. Sweet oak, really nice, and it's like a toasty sweet oak, like somebody burnt the oak. I get a little molasses, maybe a little bit of dried fruit, and there's a confectionery sugar kind of note. It's almost like the confectionery sugar on a powdered donut, the white donuts. Yeah, I get the note of just not the donut, just the powder. And there's even a hint of a little bit of orange zest. Let's taste it. The orange zest is a little more pronounced on the palate. On the palate, you start to get a little bit of cinnamon. There's a decent amount of spice, especially if it's your first whiskey of the day, or in this case, first whiskey of the morning. Hey, whiskey. That's what's for breakfast. And then when you go back to the nose, the orange zest is even more apparent. It's really singing above the chorus of the other notes. It's all buttery and honey and sweet. Hope you guys are enjoying this as much as me. Okay, so these videos are going to be relatively short. I'm going to be doing one of these for each day of the 12 days. And so now, without further ado, I say we reveal. I hope I put this thing straight. Oh, I did. The first whiskey of the 2020 Advent calendar is Michter's, however you guys like to say it, American. It's an unblended American whiskey, 41.7% alcohol, 83.4 proof. This whiskey is aged in a normal oak barrel and then it's reused. They use ex-bourbon to age their whiskey. Now, by rules, bourbon has to be aged in new oak barrels, so that's why this is not called a bourbon. This is an American whiskey. Same recipe as a bourbon, just aged in used oak barrels. And that's what gives you those extra wealth of flavors. Like I said, this is one of my favorite bottles to introduce new whiskey drinkers to, because pretty much everybody can pick out the caramel and the butterscotch on this bourbon, American whiskey. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. It's been an adventure, but we're finally here. So thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow when we do day 2. I'm excited about day 2. Day 2 is a pretty good one. This is going to be fun. See you tomorrow. Until next time, have a great day.